Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. I had to give a shout out to my boy, Cameron, the DJ, who is responsible for our music for this show. I don't think I've ever said that to any of you, but he is phenomenal. Thank you. Sometimes I'm back here just grooving before the show actually comes on. But hey, Cameron, thank you for giving us that music for our show. Welcome to another live show, ladies and gentlemen. We are so happy that you are here. I come on every week and talk about the weather in DC and all of that. But tonight, I want to share with you guys and ask you, are you in a place where you think that you are supposed to be? Because if you don't know it, you are. And I'm saying that because I just had an awakening this week real quick, because I am just like getting opportunities, wonderful opportunities. I'm meeting people. I'm communicating with people and things that, that are putting me in a very happy place. And I thought the only way that I could do that and receive that is to have learned something from where I was rejected for something, or I didn't get what I want, or I was in a relationship that didn't work out or whatever. But where I am right now is where I'm supposed to be. And I hope that that's where all of you are, ladies and gentlemen. And, because it really is a good place to be. Happy Good Friday to everybody. And for those of you who are Christians like me, in my life, today, Jesus was crucified and died so that I may have life. And for that, I'm grateful, ladies and gentlemen. So happy Good Friday to everybody, and happy Easter to everybody. For those of you who have been following us the whole month of April, our April for Art series, ladies and gentlemen, is well underway. We're in our third week, and April for us is all about honoring the power and presence of art in our lives in a time when the global art market has seen a notable decline, down 12% in 2024, according to Art Basel. It is more important than ever to spotlight the talent and creativity that exists right here amongst us, especially those voices that have long been underrepresented in the broader art world, our African-American artists. And featured here tonight is Baltimore's Larry Perry, who describes his process as intuitive and open, with inspiration flowing from a place he cannot always articulate, other than through a deep sense of openness and connection. We're honored to have him here with us tonight. And we're grateful that you guys have been joining us for this series. We have one more week, so we look forward to seeing you. We'll talk about that later. I got a little teaser for you guys. I'm a fashion guy. And on Monday, May the 5th, the Met Gala will happen in New York. And the dress code is tailored for you. It's inspired by the Costume Institute's exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Superfine Tailoring Black Style. The exhibition explores the best of Black men's style from the 18th century to today, which is why Vogue could not have picked four finer cover models than these guys: Pharrell, Coleman Domingo, A$AP Rocky, Lewis Hamilton. They're the chairs this year for the event. And this week, Vogue released some images, and I'm going to ask my producer to just let them go. They released some images of people, artists, actors, celebrities who are in that in that book, in this book. And I'm telling you guys, Vogue is not paying me anything, but I think you all should get this book. It's going to be a wonderful collector's item, and I think everybody should get this. And because on May 5th, the Metropolitan Museum is going to be blacker than blacker than blacker than black, ladies and gentlemen, and you want to see us represented. So please, if you can, check that out. And before I bring the guys on, ladies and gentlemen, something happened this week that just actually shook me and caught me off guard. I was at the gym, working out, and one of my friends came in, and I don't usually see him at the gym at this particular time. So we stopped and we're talking. I'm like, what are you doing here? He looked at me and said, it's Emancipation Day, Alvin. And I paused and I looked at him. It was Wednesday the 16th, and I had no idea. I haven't seen anything mentioned on the news, no headlines, no morning blurbs. I mean, nothing. And as a seasoned Black man, I was kind of embarrassed, and I felt like I should have known that something like this was going on, and it got me to thinking. For those of you who may not know, Emancipation Day honors the end of more than 250 years of slavery. It's not just a historical moment, it's a living, breathing call to remember the struggle, the survival, and the legacy of our ancestors. It is also a moment to reflect on how far we must go. But what really upset me on Wednesday wasn't just my own forgetfulness. It was realizing that these silences are clearly by design. When we look at the Trump administration's executive orders targeting diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, it becomes clear, crystal clear. There's a calculated effort to erase, suppress, and distract from the truth about history and the reality of systemic discrimination. These orders are dismantling decades of federal policy, Democratic and Republican, that aim to open doors that had long been closed. And now those policies are being reversed. Agencies that once enforced fairness are being used to pressure institutions into backing away from equity. So tonight, I'm sitting in the confusion still, and I'm bringing it to you. How do we allow this to happen? How do we protect our history, our progress, and our future? My call is, don't let these moments pass quietly. Learn the dates, as I should have known. Share the stories, speak up, push back, and most of all, stay aware. If we don't tell our story, someone else will erase it. Let's keep that story going, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of keeping it going, I don't do what I do without these guys, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get on with the chat. Gentlemen.
Hello.
Thank you for those profound words. If we don't tell our stories, someone else will erase it. Profound. Thank you very much for that, Alvin.
You're welcome. You're welcome. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm happy.
You are where you're supposed to be. You better sit in that happiness. Okay.
I am too. I attended a wonderful Good Friday service today and got to see some friends. So, I'm kind of in this very sacred, holy space, as you mentioned earlier. So I'm excited. Looking forward to Easter Sunday. Not doing the sunrise service as I have done in the past. I'm not going to do the 6:30 thing this year, but I'll be in regular service on Sunday. So excited.
I'm going to see my service online. I was there for Palm Sunday, but see, my church, I love them, but I'm going to see y'all on Friday. I'm going to watch you all from my computer. Okay. So what's been going on this week, guys? Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And I will have to be open and say, I'm not Christian. I tend to dive into my grandmother's history of being Black Indian. More than anything in Gullah Geechee. So I'm going back to our roots in terms of spirituality versus what I deem to be a white man's religion. But no offense to anyone who is Christian. I think it has its place. And I was there for 40 years.
He said.
That's why I love you. I love you guys. I love you.
There you have it.
Hold on, before we get started, let me say hello to some of these folks that have come on. Hey, Monica. Hey, Michelle. Thank you for being Michelle. I missed you. I don't think I said hello to her last week.
Hey,
thank you for being here. And Rodney E., thank you for being here, my brother. Happy Good Friday and happy Easter to all of you. So what's going on? Oh, Rose. Wait a minute. I didn't see Rose. Hey, Rose. Happy belated birthday, Rose.
Hey, Meech.
Let's see who else. Okay, yeah, that's right. Happy belated birthday. So what's going on? What's going on in the chat?
Well, I'm not the most fashion-oriented person, and I don't follow pop culture all too much, but I'm just fascinated by this story regarding Blue Origin, which is an organization, a company, a space tourism company founded by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and his so-called space flight with 6 women. These women, of course, are Katy Perry, the recording artist, Gayle King, the talk show host, Lauren Sanchez, who's an author, and also the fiance of Jeff Bezos, activist Amanda Nugent, and former NASA engineer Aisha Bowe, who's the actually only scientist or astronaut who was on this flight, and then finally, filmmaker Carrie Ann Flynn. So the space flight is getting I don't want to call it a space flight because they really just only went up 11 miles. I'm sorry. They're only up into the over about 11 minutes, and it's about 62 miles above Earth. So it's basically kind of like the edge, if you will, of space, scientifically, if you will. But the backlash on this space tourism with these women has been pretty contentious. Gayle King has been in the hot seat, saying that it wasn't just a ride. If it was men and they were astronauts, then you would be saying that it was just a ride. Well, it was just a ride because you're not astronauts, Miss Gayle King. All right. So don't get on your high horse thinking that you were in quote space in quote for 11 minutes and you think that you're an astronaut. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, but this whole story bothered me. And then to learn that the suits were designed by a fashion house called Monse. What was this? What was this? What was the purpose of this flight?
I don't think I've seen Sean this.
I have not seen you this worked up, but I completely understand. I completely understand. First of all, the designer that made the outfits, Monse, is like I was telling them backstage, is almost like hearing Versace. For those of you who know fashion, okay, it's almost like really. But my whole thing with this whole flight thing was Gayle King actually talking about the backlash she was getting from people who said that she shouldn't have gone up there. First of all, I don't like people. You shouldn't tell nobody what they should or should not do. But Gayle King is saying that, everybody should try it. Everybody, it would be worth your while to try. I'm like, girl, everybody's not friends with Jeff Bezos, the richest girl, in the world. You did this as a one-up to Oprah, because Oprah ain't gonna do it.
Right, and not just that. She tried to say that, we learned things from this flight. What did you learn? Okay, what science came from this? There was no science a part of the flight. Blue Origin is a space tourism organization. Tourism, nothing about science.
Sean is hot.
I heard the microphone drop. Okay. Well,
the only other thing that I will add is I've certainly heard other women say that it is almost a slap in the face to some of the issues that women are really facing right now around their bodies, the possibility of losing the right to vote and all those things, to really see this quick trip, if you will, as a reflection of girl power and something that women should be particularly proud of. And given all of the removal of funding and rights and so forth, there are so many women, particularly women of color, who are like, girl, please.
Exactly.
Girl, please sit down. Can we finish that sentence?
Or girl, bye.
That girl, bye. All right. Sean, I haven't seen you this worked up in weeks. All right.
It was actually kind of funny to see. But anyway, okay. So there is a Florida lawmaker by the name of Randy Fine whose attempt to ban any kind of political flags, and especially anything related to pride, has fallen short and dead. Now, in an attempt by this Florida lawmaker to ban the flying of any political flags on federal buildings has died. Now, including among those flags targeted are any flag that supports the LGBTQ+IA communities. Now, last December, Randy Fine, then a Florida state senator, introduced SB 100, hoping to go into effect this July 1st. Now, without the support that was expected, the bill was withdrawn from further consideration this week, and at least for now, is dead in the water. Now, Fine's name may sound familiar to some of you because he kind of made a name for himself using anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, and especially that of trying to pass legislation that prevented drag queens in the state of Florida from being anywhere in the presence of students, including such opportunities as like drag reading hours and those types of things. So Randy Fine, who is a strong supporter of the current president, is kind of got some egg on his face down in the state of Florida, because of all states, he certainly expected to get more support than he actually got. And now this bill, SB 100, has been removed and no longer for consideration. So in other words, kind of similar to what we said in the other story, girl, bye.
Girl, Bye-bye. Okay, wait. Don Henry, thank you for joining us tonight. Sean, thank you for being here. Edgar, thank you for coming on. Raw Help just showed up. And of course, Eric Shields said it was an absolute waste of money, going back to Sean's story about Gail. And he said, I wonder when the skeletons will come out about him paying for
For something
for happy sex or being a pedophile. Okay. Oh no, we can say that for gay sex. Okay, right. Well, I'm sure it will come out. But Bobby, you're saying that whole whatever that law that he was trying to pass is no longer.
That particular bill is no longer up for consideration now. Now, it is the state of Florida, and that certainly doesn't mean that someone else isn't going to try to come up with something similar to it. Right. But as of now, because again, the hope was that this bill would go into effect on July 1. And so right now it is dead in the water, and Mr. Fine is not fine right now. He's probably very upset and embarrassed by the fact that he could not get this passed. And again, as we talk about priorities and what's important, when guns are the number one reason that a child may be killed in the United States of America, you're worried about a drag queen reading a book and helping a child read. So I'm just like, again.
They're trying to put up, the reason they're doing this is to create laws to suppress their own urges.
Now, you got something there, my brother, because all I'm saying is we all know, as we reported in a previous story, that during the Republican convention, that Grindr broke. It was overwhelmed. So we know that there could be something, does thou protest too loudly going on right there. So
can we all say hypocrites? Hypocrites. Can we all just say that? But thank you guys. Well, I have to bring this up because I wanted to bring it up last week, but it's really a short fuse of a question. I mean, of a conversation. For those of you who don't know, Trump wants to throw a parade the weekend of my birthday on June the 14th.
Are you taking that personally?
I'm taking it personally. Okay. In Washington, D.C., a military parade at the tune of like $92 million. He wanted to do it back in 2016 when he was first elected. But Mayor Bowser said, hey, look, wait a minute. You're going to mess up our streets. The price is too big. And it just got shot down because, Congress, the Republicans wasn't running Congress. And so now he wants to do it on June the 14th, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, with everything that's going on in this world, everything that's happening in this world, this is all I have to say. Why, and how can he be stopped?
Well, his best friend, who shall remain nameless, who happens to be associated with a particular car that's on the street right now, is supposedly running the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE.
Yeah.
I'd like to understand how the expense of a parade of this magnitude is seen as anything other than just superfluous and just thrift spending of government and tax dollars. I don't even, not to mention, as you said, the repair costs, because one of the great concerns is with all of this military equipment doing this, that it will literally damage streets. Like the streets are not made to accommodate this level of artillery. And so there's the cost of the event, and then there's the cost after the event. And I don't understand how that is not seen as wasteful spending. I just don't, when people are losing their jobs and being cut from agencies and so forth, and you think that there's any justification for a parade of this magnitude for your 79th birthday, says everything that we need to know about this man. Again.
Well, I'm not making a joke of it, but at least I'm sorry, Sean, this will be his justification to bring back the illegal immigrants that he claimed to fix the streets and all that. This would be their argument to do that. Because you believe me, and I say that semi-sarcastically, but there's some truth in that, to me. It will just justify more of their rhetoric to support their racist cause.
It's insane.
It's insane.
It's completely illogical, because when you think about it, even if the parade route was between the U.S. Capitol and the White House, that's only about 1.25 miles, barely 1.25 miles. So it's not a long route, if you will. And the logistics behind that makes some sense in the sense that the streets may not even be wide enough to accommodate tanks and jets, if you will. So nothing about it is logical. It's all about him and his ego and being the center of what he thinks is the universe.
And he's seen these types of parades in other countries where they're often dictators and, people like that. This kind of pageantry is usually done where there's a ruler of sorts, not a president. What we've often seen the office of the president as one of service, leadership service. They represent the people. And this kind of pageantry is usually reserved for people who bow down to a leader and are of service to said leader. So,
and speaking of service to people, I want to bring this next story to everyone. This is an update story, if you will. So, back in the year 2000, 2 DC police officers were convicted in the murder of a moped rider. So, Lieutenant Zabowski and Officer Terrence Sutton, they were convicted in 2020 for pursuing a young man by the name of Kayron Hilton Brown when he was on a moped without a helmet. That pursuit led to him getting hit by another vehicle. Okay, and so the 2 officers tried to cover up the incident, and so they were charged with second-degree murder. That was actually Sultan who was charged with second-degree murder, but both members were charged with a conspiracy to obstruct justice and obstruction for them trying to cover up the death. But the Orange Man, as we just mentioned, pardoned these 2 gentlemen recently. And so now they are, on unpaid leave. So this is really, really insane that you have what are supposed to be protectors of the community hurting someone and then getting off of it because of some man who believes that the police department is immune to any kind of criminal activity.
And the fact that they're white.
Well, and the young man that was killed was a young black man.
A young black man. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my surprise face.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a heartbreaking story.
Insane.
These pardons, I don't know. This is, again, why I strongly believe in the separation of church and state and why DC should be a state. Because if we're a state and these were filed under state laws, he would not have had the power to pardon these individuals.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have had several stories related to the administration, and at least I'm hoping that I can end on one that at least gives a little bit of hope of resistance, an act of resistance, if you will. So Harvard University recently stood up to the administration. It is being applauded for their flat out rejection and defiance concerning a recent list of demands from the Trump administration as part of an ongoing review and targeting of several selected universities over allegations of anti-Semitism. Now, among the broad list of demands, the university would be required to restrict the acceptance of international students who are hostile, quote unquote, hostile to the American values and institutions, unquote, and to report to the Department of Homeland Security any foreign-born student who violates Harvard's code of conduct. Now, obviously, in addition to this, any program funding initiatives around diversity, equity, and inclusion would also be removed. Now, Harvard's president, Alan Garber, wrote in response that the university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. He cited this as an attempt to control the Harvard community and vows to fight back. So many around the world are applauding Harvard University for standing up, even in the face of losing billions of dollars of federal funding, and now potentially even losing their tax-exempt status as a result of that person being upset about them standing up to him. But kudos to Harvard University.
Kudos to Harvard. Yeah. Kudos to Harvard. Well, guys, I'm going to try to end on our chat on a celebratory note.
Yes.
On this past Wednesday, Shirley Ralph, the original Dream Girl, Tony Award winner, and Emmy winner, was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She received the 2,808 star in the television category. And Shirley Ralph, in her true Shirley Ralph form, had this to say about her win. I can still feel the determined spirit of the little girl who dared to dream. I have been counted out. I have been passed over. I have been told I was too black, too strong, or too much. And yet here I stand. And I want to say congratulations to Miss Shirley Ralph. And for those of you who don't know, I had to stop it because of COVID, but I produced an event. I'm an diabetes awareness activist, and Shirley Ralph came to host my first event. And I mean, she was just a dream girl to work with, ladies and gentlemen. And if I could do this show over again, now I know she has gotten 3 more accolades since we did this show a few years back, but I'm calling her. Okay, but this was a fantastic moment, and I want to say congratulations to the original dream girl, Shirley Ralph, for getting her Hollywood star this week, ladies and gentlemen. So
well deserved, very well deserved. I'm so happy for her.
I'm very happy.
Best life.
And she actually worked like the women that went on that flight. So
she did what, Sean?
She actually worked. She had a career. She actually did something.
Unlike some of those people who were on a space flight, he's going back to the flight. He's hot. I'm telling you. He's not having it.
Sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight and for our April for Art. And Sean and Bobby, if you all are ready, our special guest is backstage, and I cannot wait to get him on. So if you all are ready, I'm going to go ahead and give him an introduction. Are you guys ready?
Absolutely.
Are you ready? Okay, because I know you all got your questions. Okay. Our special guest, Lawrence Perry, is a self-taught painter who began his artistic journey in August 2014. Since then, he has created over 200 works ranging from the abstract to spiritual and nature-inspired pieces. His first solo exhibition, The Journey, featured 89 works and debuted in Washington, D.C. in 2015. Guided by intuition and passion, as I told you, Lawrence's art reflects self-discovery and creative freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our April for Arts, Mr. Lawrence Perry.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey, Larry.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, look, we know our time with you is limited, and we want to share with our viewers as much about you as we humanly possibly can. So I'm going to kick off our questioning. After thanking you, Larry, I want you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself. For example, where did you grow up, and what was little Larry's childhood like?
I think you caught him off guard with little Larry.
That's
No.
what we do here.
Well, I come from a fantastic family, and the reason that I'm laughing is I'm the only boy, and I have 3 sisters, and I am literally spoiled, but was often picked on growing up. But I have to say that I come from a really supportive family. We were blessed to. My dad was in the military, to be able to move all around. So, I mean, I've seen different cultures, different places to live. I don't think we lived any more than 4 years in any given place. So, I had a real rich upbringing, strong family and everything, who are still supported to this day, especially in this journey.
I like the fact that you're spoiled. I do, because I know nothing.
Mona, Sherry, and Tracy, they're the ones who spoil me. And of course, Mama. So,
well, thank you for being here, Larry. Thank you for sharing with us tonight, man. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Larry, I have a question for you. So you talked about your family, what have you, and so forth, and it is inspiring. So as a young man, as a child, did you have any family members or teachers or mentors who encouraged you or inspired you when it came to your art or your creativity early on?
Not really. This didn't really come on to me until probably 2014. Just doing the art. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know where it came from. And it wasn't something that I exposed when I was growing up. So it wasn't like I was discouraged from doing it. It just popped up. Now, saying that, probably if I had brought up doing art, I would have been supportive because my parents were very, whatever you want to do, as long as you get C's in school. And isn't that amazing? All we had to do was get C's. I was like, Jesus Christ. I look at it now, but that was their whole thing of, just, get the education. So if I had wanted to do art, I think they would have been supportive.
Wow.
So you mentioned that first time you don't know where it came from and so forth, but can you just describe to us what that first project was?
I was going through a rough time at work. It was very political, and I was leading an office, and there was a lot of drama going on. And one night I just came home and I saw this art kit that I'd given my nephew when he was real young. A real nice art kit. And of course he opened it up and he was like, well, what does this do? As in, this is not a game. This isn't a video game or whatever. So I took it back. I was like, fine. Boom. I took it back. And I think I had it in my house for maybe 15, 20 years. And I thought, let me open this up. And it just started from there.
So that kind of leads into my next question is, any professional training, or are you completely self-taught?
I'm completely self-taught. I did move up to Baltimore to take some classes at MICA. And then once I got in there, I was like,
would you share with us what MICA is?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Maryland Institute of Art. What is the C for?
It's an art school. We got that.
Yeah, it's an art school that
we're gonna look that
Amy
thing
went
up.
to.
We're gonna our viewers, because they're sitting there like, wait a minute, I want to go
Maryland Institute and College of Art.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
And that's actually where Amy Sherrod graduated from. So it's a really great, it's a fantastic school. But when I got there, I was kind of like, it was throwing off my creativity part. I was trying too hard while I was in there to follow the curriculum and everything. And so, after a while I was like, this really isn't for me.
Okay.
So with art, art, of course, is a way to tell history, and you have different movements over the centuries. You had Cubanism, you have Impressionism. Okay, was there ever any artist or a movement that heavily influenced you when you were just starting out, or even today?
I think Romare Bearden had a big influence on me. And I think it was subconscious because I'd seen a lot of his art and everything, but I had not tried to emulate it or whatever. Other people had pointed it out to me. I don't know, most of my art comes from events that are going on. I did a lot during the George Floyd events. I did a lot during COVID. It's mainly stuff that kind of moves me. I'm not sure what I'll do during this administration, because some of the stuff that I did during the last administration was very angry. And as I looked at it during the Biden administration, I was looking at the paintings and everything. It kind of pissed me off that someone had gotten me that angry that I was making these angry paintings. But it'll be interesting to see what I do, because this is a totally different time than the 4 years he was here before.
It's worse.
Yes, it's much worse. It's much worse.
Yeah.
Well, from one creative to another, I totally get what you're saying. I think I did overcome my PTSD from his first time in office. I did overcome that, but Larry, I completely understand what you just said. So let me ask you, in all of this, were there any, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned as an artist, either being in school or through this newfound journey since 2014? And has it shaped your style as an artist at all?
I think the biggest thing I learned, it was actually here at Micah when I was taking a class. And I have a A-type personality. So during the day, I'm an auditor. But who I really am is an artist. But I would find myself in class, I would sketch something and then I'd be like, oh, I don't like it. And I'd throw it away. And I would just crumble it up. And so he came by and he was like, you can't keep doing that, and because you'll never finish. And I think what I learned was whatever I'm painting, it's okay. I don't need to critique it. I don't need to wait and see if, yes, I'm very critical of my artwork, but I don't have to wait and see if someone's going to like it, or I don't have to think about it while I'm painting. I just do it and then move it to the side and start another one.
Okay.
That's the biggest lesson that I've learned. Because when I first started, like Alvin, you were saying I had 200 pieces. Mm-hmm. And I was just painting. And someone came over to the house and they were like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff, and that's when I realized, oh, just let it out. Just let it flow. And that's what I've been trying to do.
So that's a natural transition into my question to you about the moment that you actually went from being an artist to a professional artist. Because, there are a lot of people who just paint and things sit in their home and so forth. But tell us about the moment you became a professional artist.
I think it kind of started at the show I had. One of my sisters, I had not labeled anything. I had not signed anything. I just had these paintings and they actually came down, surprised me, and were helping me put it up. And then people started asking how we buy this, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know the prices. I don't, and I was getting, so, my one sister, Mona, decides to pick up a little book and just walk around and, people were saying, oh yeah, I'd like that one. I'd like that one. And I was kind of blown away at the end. I was like, oh, wow. People actually do like the artwork. So I thought, this is what I want to do when I retire. This is what I want to do. And that's one of the reasons I moved up to Baltimore. Yeah.
So would you say, Larry, that that was that one of the specific moments or occurrences in your life that you really feel like you launched your career?
Yeah. I haven't been as strong in promotion as I would like, but that was the point where I was like, oh, people actually do like my things in their house. And it also gave me a better appreciation of other artists. It's all about what you see in their art, Yeah. So that was the, the kickoff point.
This is really, again, this is leading into a whole bunch of things. I remember I was at your first.
That's right. You were at that.
I was there. And all of a sudden a ticker tape just ran through my head. As I started the show earlier, I was saying that sometimes you have to go through things and realize that you're where you're supposed to be and you learned from where you were, because I met someone at your party, at the launch, and I learned so much of who I don't want to know from there. And so I just had a full circle moment. And here I am today interviewing you on my show. So first of all, it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful exhibit. I remember your sisters being there and holding the books like you said. I remember that. It was so clear, but unbeknownst to me and everybody else there, that you had not even thought that process through, because it was so professionally done. And your artwork spoke for itself. So
that's my sisters.
Kudos to you on that. So kudos to you. So in the beginning, though, Larry, what were some of the challenges that you faced early on, and how did you push through them to learn and get to where you are now?
Some of the challenges were just allowing myself to be free with it, because I during the day, I'm such a, being an auditor, everything has to be in order. Everything has to be in place, And with painting, you're allowed to just, kind of be free. The other thing that I had to push through was, Alvin, and you know me very well. I'm a very black and white person. I don't think you've probably ever seen me out of either black or blue. And all of a sudden these colors were coming out. And so my paintings now are real vibrant in color. And so that was something that I had to push through, because at first I was like, I don't know if I like this because it's so not me. But then accepting, yeah, this actually is me. I'm just letting it out now.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you said early on, Larry, that you're inspired a lot by what's going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what's going on in the world right now, and I don't want you to give away your creative secrets and somebody say, oh, I'm gonna go paint that picture. But I wanted, if you can put into your own words and share with the viewers, what is actually inspiring you today?
Actually, I'm trying to figure out, what's inspired me about this term. I can tell you what inspired me during the George Floyd event. Something that came to me during that, when he said that he had, they said he had 2 children, and I thought, man, this is a whole continuation of broken lineage. That generation stops with him, and then it just made me think about slavery and how this is actually, when you kill a black man, you're killing the lineage of the family. And I kind of see some of that now of this administration right now. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to erase us, erase our history, erase. So I'm doing a lot of written word in paintings right now.
Yes, so I hear you talk about the external, the George Floyd incident, the moment, his killing, if you will. But what about something more intimate? What about your own environment? So do you find that your environment influences what you create? And if so, can you give an examples of that? And I'm referring specifically to your environment and not the environment that we see in terms of the White House and that administration or
what's going on in the world.
Yeah, but your intimate environment.
My intimate environment is, I'm a big observer of everything. It's odd. I see everything. And so a lot of my inspiration comes from looking out. A lot of my paintings have eyes in them. And that's a big thing of mine. I'm always watching, always looking at things, always observing. But I'm a very reserved person, so I very seldom express it. So a lot of people don't know that about me. And so I think I try and express it through the eyes in my paintings. I don't know if that resonates with you, but
it does. The eyes are the windows to the soul. So
it's been told. Exactly.
Yeah, we're seeing your soul in that work. It's
right. So it's easier. I realize now it's easier for me to do this through art versus talking.
Well, wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I see people popping on and saying hi to Larry. So I just wanted to make sure that I get him out. That I get him out there. Mona Thomas, we are so proud. She's so proud of their brother.
There's one of the sisters.
There's one of the sisters. Robert Blue Beatty came on to say hi to Eric. How you doing, Blue? Thank you for joining us tonight. Dawn, thank you for being here. I know Larry and I are connected to a wonderful friend, and Dawn happens to be that person. Sean, thank you for joining us tonight, and Mike Jones. I don't know if I said hello to you tonight, but thank you for joining our show tonight. We're glad that you're here. Thank you. I'm sorry, Bobby.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned eyes as kind of like a feature in many of your pieces. We're about to be treated. We always love during this series where we get to actually see the works of the artists that we feature, and so we're going to see some of your pieces. But I was just wondering, before we get to that point, is there a way that you would describe your style of art?
I really can't describe it. I tried for a long time to describe what it was. And I've come to peace that it just is what it is. I mean, as we go through the paintings, I like to say they're all over the place, but that's who I am. That's how my brain works. And if I were to sit down and have to describe a certain style, it could change from day to day. I mean, I have probably 15 I'm working on now, and they're all different styles.
It's a great deal about, the one side of your brain that obviously as an accountant, that's, as an auditor, that's very, very linear and very, and then
sometimes it's not a very fun place up here.
Okay.
That's real talk right there. That's real talk. That is some real talk right there. I hear you. I'm sorry. I hear you. I hear you. It's not always a picnic when you're being creative. It's not. But through all of that, Larry, are there any themes or messages that you're consistently trying to communicate through the work?
I don't know. I think right now I'm at a place of where I just want to communicate joy. That's the main thing that I want to communicate, joy, and leave my message, whatever that may be. So,
well, ladies and gentlemen, we love this part of the show. We love hearing from our artists. We do. But when you get a chance to see their work up close and personal, this is one of my favorite moments of the show. So, Larry, we're going to turn it over to you. We have 12 of Larry's pieces. And Larry, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. There we go.
This is one of the latest ones I did. It's kind of about if we think we're not being followed, or we think we're not out there somewhere, we are, and this is, people talk about, you can't find me on the grid. You can't find me anywhere. No, that's totally untrue. And so that's kind of what this series is about, that right now. Oh, here we go. This is one of the eyes. Bobby, you had asked me, what is like some of the themes, or Sean, you may have asked me. And it's about evolution, that we're always evolving, and to keep evolving. Don't get stuck in one place. This is another Evolve series, and I try and incorporate, well, in a lot of the series I have, it's about mask. Oftentimes we all wear different masks and what have you, but we're always evolving to different facets in our life. And so this has been a big part of my work, is the mask and the evolution. This is another one of the, evolution and mask pieces where, oftentimes I know as I was getting older, I was like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Now I'm realizing I can do whatever I want to do. Just keep evolving, just keep myself open, and keep doing it. This one I painted during COVID, and it's kind of Everything Must Change. It's one of my favorite songs. And this is just kind of what plays out in my head. I may start in a corner, and then this is how it ends up. I don't plan any of this stuff out. I don't sketch it out or anything. I just get up there and, see where it'll take me next, where the next brush stroke will take me. This is a series that I had of you don't have to stay in the lines. You know, you can color outside the lines. Because with my artwork, I was always thinking, oh, I've got to do, it's all got to look the same. I have to have a theme. I have to have this or whatever. And I realized the way my mind works is I like going outside of the traditional lines. This one was supposed to just be a combination of blues, different colors of blue. And I don't know, I just kept painting on it. And then as I picked it up, I was like, oh, this is baptism. It just reminded me of a baptism with the robes and the water. And so a lot of stuff, I don't know what it's going to end up to be.
I have to tell you, I love this so far, and everything must change. So I don't know if you still have them, Larry, but we can talk. I'm just saying, okay. Wow.
And this one, I'm really not sure where this one started out from, but, you know, I just found different things around the house that I was like, oh, let me paint this shape. Let me do these lines. And I love the color in it. And I mean, it's just so fun to do. It's just so, you know, my sisters will ask, well, how do you choose what color? I have no clue. I just pick it up. I really don't. I really, really don't, you know. And someone would wear this as a shirt.
Yeah.
I could never. Oh, no. No. Even though I paint it, oh, no.
Like, no.
This is a piece I call Migration. I just started, and what it is actually letters laid on top of letters, and then painting inside of whatever shape that comes. So it was all just kind of let me lay these stencils out, draw over them, paint in between them, and see what comes out of it. This is another one of my mask series, and part of the evolution, just in black and white. Another mask series with the color, and I like it sometimes because sometimes I get when I'm looking at it, I can see the face within the face within the face, and it's kind of fascinating to me that how it comes out, and I'm not planning it that way. It just that's where I feel like I'm blessed. It just comes. Oh, I was listening to Nina Simone one night, and this is just what came out. So.
The fact that this is called Nina, and I see a turntable. It took me back to my younger days. I see a turntable. I see it. This is also my third Larry pick. Everything Must Change, Baptism, and Nina. So, Larry, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Thank you. Wow. Bobby, Sean, okay.
They were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I told you, and the viewers are also liking it. Monica said, nice. Eric Shields said, talent, bravo. These pieces are nice. Love the piece. Beautiful, intricate art. That looks like a Stevie Wonder. Okay, you guys, we got a couple of more questions because we need to find. I need to tell you all where you all need to call him. Okay, so thank you, Bobby. Let's get these last questions in here.
You are definitely feeling the love from our audience, and that's a great thing.
Thank you.
It raises the question again. Still, as Alvin pointed out earlier, that there has been a decline in terms of the support of artists of recent. Currently, particularly given the economic issues that we face today, how are you feeling about the current situation in terms of being a professional artist?
I mean, I see that it is, declining and what have you, but I get it. I finally get it with artists who say, I just have to do it. So no matter what happens,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do it. And they're going to, it sounds cliche to say, I have to paint. It's kind of like that. I got to dance, but it really is. It really is true. I don't know. I can't stop. So whatever the market's going to be, it's going to be. Yeah. But I think you find a way
to do that
and sustain.
Yeah.
I assume then that the shifts really haven't affected you personally or with your creativity.
The what?
The shifts.
Not really. No. One of the things I love about Baltimore is I never knew that it was such an incredibly rich in art and creativity. It's like a hidden secret almost. And so you get a lot of inspiration and everything from all of the people around you, because people will hear this. This is just what they do.
And Artscape is one of the biggest events in Baltimore.
Well, actually, it's the biggest art festival in the world.
Yeah, it's huge.
I think Patty is headlining,
or
is she headlining AFRAM? I can't remember I think she's headlining AFRAM. I'm not sure who's headlining Artscape, but they've had Shaka Khan, Aretha Franklin perform there. It's just
Gladys Knight. Yeah. Artscape.
Yeah, if you get a chance to come up for Artscape, it is
really big.
It's really, really, and it's all over the city.
When is it generally?
It's in August, right, Larry? Okay. It's August.
Yeah, it's just art from, people come from all over the country, all over the world to bring their art. You have spoken words, you have, music. It gives people an opportunity to just showcase themselves. And a big part of it is African American, a huge part of it, of the artists.
Sounds like a road trip, brothers.
Pardon?
I was saying to the guys, my co-hosts, it sounds like a road trip.
I'm ready if you are. Look, we will talk about that after we finish this show. I promise.
He said
okay. I'm going. Okay, we can go together. Thank you.
I'm there. So Larry, so where do you see yourself in 5 years then? Still in Baltimore?
Let's see, in 5 years, as I'm recalculating my retirement, as we all are. But I see myself painting and maybe not necessarily here in Baltimore. I really, there's been something that's been coming to me to like live abroad somewhere for a few years and see how my inspiration and all of that comes through.
Okay.
So that kind of answers my question about goals. Have you been setting, what goals do you see setting for yourself now? And you kind of answer that in your answer to Sean's question. So let's just move on then.
Well, what's something people will be surprised to learn about you?
I think
I lost some kind of connection.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you're back now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Larry. I was asking what's something that people will be surprised to learn about you?
Well, you've probably picked up on it now, but a lot of people don't know that I have ADHD, really. Really deep. And I think this is the first year that I've like, okay, let me just embrace it and see where it takes me. Because I used to fight it like, oh God. And Alvin knows me well. I'm a very like calm person, but my mind, it's a major wheel. So
thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I actually work at a school that supports children with learning differences, and ADHD is among one of them. So,
wonderful!
I have great appreciation for that and how we support young. How we could have supported a young Larry as far as that. But it leads me to the question of asking. You've done this for a minute now, and there are young creatives out there who must create just like you. And I'm wondering if there's a piece of advice that you would give them as they consider breaking into the career of being a professional artist.
Just do it because you feel it. If you feel it, do it. It may not take on the go the path that you may think it should, like going to school or what have you, but just find some way to actually do the art, and everything else will fall into place. It really will.
Excellent.
Surprise you. It'll surprise you.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Larry, Sean, Bobby, viewers, we have gotten to the end of another wonderful show, ladies and gentlemen. So before we do anything,
Thank you.
let me get some clicks in all these chats, and you all can go ahead and hit clap. You can type in whatever you want, but give Larry some love. Show Larry some love. Tracy, thank you for being here. I see Bogart, you finally came on my show because Larry's here. Al McGill, thank you for being here tonight. Again, Mona, you have a wonderful brother, and we love him dearly. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we are ending our April for Art series, and we are doing. Look, don't think that we have forgotten. But next week we will end with one of the ladies, our featured guest. She has gone from the catwalk to canvas, and Maria Lama Queen will be here next week to talk about her art. She is a phenomenal artist as well, and we cannot wait to end the series with her. And as we do in every show, we have words of the week. But this week, Larry, before we let you go, because the words of the week that we're using are yours. And that's rare that we use one of our guests' words of the week. So we might need you to explain this one. Art is the lie that enables us to realize the truth. And this was by Pablo Picasso. Larry, briefly, can you just tell us why you picked this and what this means to you?
Actually, a friend of mine, Bogart, picked that. And to put on my website.
So you mean we have to ask Bo to come over here? Okay,
no.
Okay. Now I'm not going to.
When we first met it, we just
I'm sorry, Larry. I'm not going to interrupt you no more. Really, I'm not going to do it.
For me, art just gives the truth of who I am. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I have so many masks in my series, is because we all wear different masks, different times of the day, different jobs, but it's all us. And art gives me that chance to say, okay, the right side of my brain says I should be an accountant, I should be this, I should be that, I should be retired by this age, by whatever. And my art through the mask says, no, you get to be all these things. Or you can try to be all these things.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we have ended our show for tonight with the incredible Lawrence Perry.
Thank you
for
all.
being here, Larry. We've been putting his website address on the screen. Please reach out to him, buy his art. He's phenomenal. And ladies and gentlemen, please tune in next week for the live new episode and our final week of April for Art, ladies and gentlemen, on He Said.
He said.
You all have a good weekend. And Larry said he said too. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Good night.